views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
The Golden Path with Heather Allison on Transformation Talk Radio starts now. Heather is bringing through alchemy for the women who know they are meant for more. If you have a sense that you're meant for more love, more ease, more joy, more success, more magic and intuition, tune in to understand why it's felt harder than it's supposed to, and discover how shifting into the energetic patterns you were built for creates massive shifts in every area of your life. Listen as Heather explores the archetypal truth of who you really are, what you're really meant for, and let yourself step onto your golden path with Heather Allison now.
Hey, welcome back, loves. I'm Heather Allison, and you're with me again here on the Golden Path, where we reconnect you with the original energetic blueprint of who you really are at an archetypal level, so you can start to live the life you're actually built to live. And it's summer, and my window is open because it's hot, which is amazing, but you're probably going to hear a little bit of life outside, and hopefully you can hear the beautiful birds chirping behind my voice. So just wanted to let you know you're probably going to hear some things, but it's life and it's human, right? And we're not about perfection here. If you haven't joined me before, hi, I'm Heather Allison. And if you have joined me before, welcome back. How I describe what I do changes all the time, but if you have not joined me before, I just want to give you a little bit of an introduction to who I am and what I do. How I describe what I do kind of changes daily, really, honestly, based on how I feel called to describe it, based on what's present for me in the moment. But what I most often say, typically, is I'm an energy repatterning coach or a destiny activation coach for women. And what that means is women come to me to find the energetic patterns that are keeping their life from feeling the way they know they're supposed to feel, that keep them from feeling better, that keep them from feeling good, that keep them from feeling like they're living the life they were meant to live. They come to me when there's something that's not working in their lives, when their relationships are falling apart and they can't figure out why, or they can't seem to find love at all and they can't figure out why that's happening. They come to me when they're struggling to find their soul purpose in life, even though they know they have one. They can feel it in their bones, or they've stepped into their soul business already, becoming an entrepreneur, offering the gifts they know they're here to offer, but they're freaking exhausted and they're basically dying a slow death. They've been trying all the things and they can't figure out why they can't find success when they're sure it's what their soul is calling them to, what their soul is calling them to be doing. They also often come to me when they feel like something's just missing. Something's missing within them, like somehow their spark went out or they lost their light along the way as they live a life that feels harder or harsher or more full of pain than they imagined that it would. They feel like something's missing. And again, they can't figure out what that is, or they aren't sure where to even start looking, or even if they do have a hunch, they aren't sure how to get it back. Or maybe they've done so much counseling and read all the books, taken class after class after class, and it just doesn't seem like it's working. Or maybe it does work for a minute, but then they fall back into the same cycles over and over again. Doesn't that sound familiar? It does to me. Women also come to me because they're sure they're supposed to be more intuitive than they feel like they are. Maybe they know they're intuitive and they just aren't sure how to trust it. Or maybe they know they have a latent ability somewhere. They just feel it somewhere inside, like there's supposed to be some sort of access to their intuition that they're meant to have, but it's buried somewhere inside of them. Or maybe they've even experienced it before, but this world has just like shut it down. It's just stifled it within them, or they've shut it down out of fear or uncertainty about what they're going to hear. They come to me sometimes just knowing, with this vague knowing, that there's supposed to be so much more magic and beauty in this life than they've gotten to experience. And they feel their heart and soul stirring when they hear me speak or read about my work, about this work. Sometimes women don't even know why they came to me, honestly. They just kind of tell me that they feel drawn and they let themselves trust the voice inside that's calling them in this direction. And here's the thing. There's a reason why the main commonality in all the things that I just listed off is that they aren't sure what they're doing wrong. They aren't sure what's missing entirely. They aren't sure how to figure out why things aren't working the way they're supposed to, or why they just don't feel good. And they're tired of trying all the things. They're tired of getting it wrong. They're tired of still not having or that thing that they're desiring continuing to stay out of reach. They just can't figure it out, right? It's actually exactly what called me in the direction of this work too. I was on breakup number 3 in the 20 years that I'd been in serious relationships. I was 37 and I was like, what in the hell is going on here? Why do I keep getting in these relationships that don't work? Why do I keep getting relationship wrong? Why do they keep failing? What is it that I'm missing? And the reason we don't know, the reason we have that deep ache we can't kind of figure out how to satisfy, the reason we feel like something is missing and we can't put our finger on what it is, the reason we can try literally everything out there and it still doesn't seem to work the way it should, or it just doesn't give us the breakthrough that we were really hoping for, is because there's an ancient, forgotten, energetic truth about who you are that you've literally never been given permission to know, let alone embody, let alone have full access to, let alone know how to be in and work with and harness. None of us have. For thousands of years, this part of us has been hidden and rewritten in our myths and our histories, buried under super twisted truths and shaming beliefs that had us forgetting these parts of ourselves. But it's starting to awaken within us again because, truth always comes out eventually, right? And it's that time. It's actually that time right now. That truth is starting to emerge more and more and more and more powerfully. It's starting to awaken within us again. We're starting to remember again. We're starting to remember these truths, these energies, these powers, these abilities we have always been meant to have access to. We're starting to remember how we're meant to feel, how we're not meant to suffer or struggle so hard or even try so hard. We're meant to feel so much more deep pleasure in our bodies, in our relationships, in our lives. It's meant to feel easier. It's meant to be easier to heal our wounds, to create the life that feels like the one we've always wanted, that feels beautiful and delicious, to create success and abundance that we both desire to create and that our soul is guiding us toward. It's all supposed to be easier. Even the hard stuff is supposed to feel easier. So that's what I do. I help my clients tap into this really ancient energetic blueprint, their original energetic blueprint, your original energetic blueprint, and help them embody it in every single part of their lives so that everything shifts, everything harmonizes, everything gets to feel easier, and they get to live the life they literally came here to live. They get to live out their highest destiny, or as I call it, hello, title of this podcast, their golden path. So for the last 3 to 4 years, I've been teaching this work. I love that Crow is so present in this recording with me. Hopefully you can hear him too. It's really amazing to have him chiming in every time I say anything. So I've been teaching this work for about 3 or 4 years and really creating energetic shifts for my clients in the courses and the programs that I offer. and through the shamanic journeying that we do, and through the energy repatterning that we do. And in the last 6 months, I started sharing some of the principles, obviously, here with you in this podcast once a month, right? And then in the little mini-sodes that I'm starting to do a little bit more. And this month, I just started offering another free resource to everybody who wants it. So I'm super excited to share that with you. It's something I'm calling, for at least for right now, the Rise Goddess series, a series of workbooks that I'm going to be releasing probably every other month or so, maybe more, maybe it's every month. I'm not really entirely sure. It's just kind of going to be based on when the inspiration arises and as I feel called, because that's what I do, is I let myself be guided in really how to create my offerings and create my business. And those workbooks are going to include practices and journal prompts to go a little deeper in like one facet of awakening this ancient energy within us. And I just released the first one. I'm super excited about it. It's all about dreams, both the dreams that we have when we're sleeping and the dreams that come to us when we're awake. Because you know how I kept saying one of the common threads of our pain points, one of the common reasons, those commonalities that we can stay stuck, and the reasons why we suffer and get overwhelmed or give up, the reasons why women come to me in this work, is not being able to figure out what's actually going wrong, right? Not being able to know or understand or figure out what it is that we're not seeing, what it is that we're not quite getting right, what it is that's actually causing the things that we're struggling with, and why the hell what we're trying isn't working the way we have been told that it'll work. Well, our dreams are actually one of the places we can start to get information about exactly those things. It's one of the places where this ancient, energetic truth begins to emerge. And we just have to start paying attention. We have to be willing to listen. We have to know how to listen. And we have to know how to hear and translate the messages that are coming to us from them. Because our dreams, and again, I mean, the ones we have when we're asleep and the ones we have when we're awake, they actually are speaking to us all the time about how to step into our golden paths and about how to awaken this ancient energetic pattern within us, this ancient energetic blueprint within us. They speak to us all the time about how to step into our greatest and highest versions of our lives and our relationships and our success, and connect with the magic of the universe or our intuition or God, whatever you want to call that. So this month's workbook has practices and prompts to help you tap into those more and start really harnessing the power of your dreams. And it's actually what we're talking about today too. So if you want to follow along and get the free workbook, you can download it by going to heather-allison.com. But we're going to take a quick break really fast, and we'll be right back with our anchoring in practice, our dropping in practice, dropping into our bodies, as well as, of course, then our content, insights and tips and suggestions and things to help you tap into your dreams a bit more, your waking and sleeping dreams, to see what they might be trying to tell you. And stay tuned even if you think you don't dream, or you can't remember them when you do dream. I have tips for you too. So hang out for a second and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Laura Meeks, and the most common problem that my clients face is all work and no play. This is why I created Fly High Living. I help you develop a balanced life plan and guide you to a place where you love to wake up in the morning.
Call 888-666-1570 or go to flyhighliving.com to sign up for the 4-week Flight Plan for Life course.
Are you ready to embrace your essence and the magic of who you are? Let me, Emily Perkins, hold your hand and walk with you as we go treasure hunting for the gold that lies within you. Tune in to Love Living Radio every second and fourth Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. For more information, visit lovelivingHolistics.com.
Calling all moms, it's time to awaken your vibrant, intuitive, loving self in every area of your life. Join host Debbie Pokornik as she shares thoughts, stories, and tools to help you stand in your power. Listen to Vibrant, Powerful Moms helping everyday women create extraordinary lives. Mondays at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. For more information about Debbie, visit empoweringenergy.com. That's empowering with letters NRG.com.
You said forever. You said always. Now you know things have changed, and going back is not an option. It's sudden, devastating, and is like taking a leap of faith. Tune in to From Two to You, Thriving After Divorce Radio, as Sarah Lou's empowerment coach and spiritual mentor reminds you to have faith in yourself. Tune in every second Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific and listen as Sarah encourages you to leave negative stories in the past and move forward. We all need a friend when I do becomes I can't. Let Sarah help as life takes you in a new direction. Leave the guilt and doubt in the past, step into the spotlight, and show the world who you are. To find out more about Sarah Lou's, visit sarahloos.com.
Have you lost a loved one and would desperately love a sign to prove that they are okay? Here's a tip for you. Be curious. Keep an open mind about everything. The proof will come from the most unlikely places. The messages promise to challenge your current beliefs and what you've been taught. Accept and appreciate all, no matter where they come from. I'm Angie Corbett-Kuiper. I would love for you to share your signs from beyond on my closed Facebook page, Beyond Grief.
Welcome back, loves. So before I drop into this topic more, dreams, we're talking about dreams today. As you've gotten used to, if you've been listening to this podcast already, I like to take a minute before we really drop into like the juicy stuff to drop into our bodies first. So take a minute here if you can, if you're not driving, obviously. Don't close your eyes if you're driving. But if you can, and even if you can just like pull over on the side of the road for a little bit, this is such a gift just to start out listening to and receiving this content. It's just a gift in and of itself, as far as we don't typically give ourselves an opportunity to really fully drop into our bodies again throughout our busy days. And it's so powerfully and so impactful when we do. So close your eyes and start to cultivate some presence here. Just letting yourself feel this recentering that happens when you close your eyes. This reconnecting with your body, with your own energy field, rather than on the things and the busyness and the inputs that are around us. And start dropping into your body. Release every muscle that has a tendency to want to hold or tighten or constrict. Drop into your lower belly. Place a hand, your right hand, on your womb space. Gents, this is true for you too. The energetic equivalent of womb space for you lads, for you gents, is the prostate. So same placement. Place your hand on your lower belly and feel into the depth of your body as well. And just give yourself this gift of returning to your inner world, your deeper world, your deeper experience. And I invite you to receive the rest of this show, the rest of this podcast, everything else I'm going to be sharing with you today from down here. Not just listening with your minds, your brain, your monkey mind, your rational awareness, your logical thought, but much deeper in your body, in your deeper and more ancient wisdom, where this ancient energetics reside. And see if you can just feel or just intend for your energy and your awareness and your conscious thought, your busy minds to drop down into your body. You can imagine your breath coming deeper and deeper, filling your sacral bowl. You can imagine yourself as a tiny traveler inside your own body, dropping down through your midline. Whatever you choose, however you envision this, just drop all the way down to your hips, your pelvis, your sacral chakra, your sacral bowl. And just being here, just breathing from here. Softening here, finding expansion down here. What do you notice? As you're deepening into your body, what do you notice? What happens in your body? What sensations start to show up? What sensations start to move through you? What thoughts or emotions start to arise in your consciousness? And feeling deep down here in your sacral chakra, in your womb, your pelvis, your sacral bowl. See if you can feel the deep wisdom of your body. The deep wisdom of your ancient knowing. The deep wisdom of your ancestors. The deep wisdom of your dreams. The subtle voices that whisper to your unconscious mind, and the dreams that run through our collective unconscious. See if you can just let yourself feel and remember the incredible, incredible amount of wisdom that you have access to through here, through this portal of life, through this seat of the feminine. Male and female. And notice what else happens in your body as you tap into it. Taking a few more breaths here, just letting yourself be with this deepened connection. And again, I want to invite you to receive the rest of this podcast episode from here. From much, much deeper than you're typically used to listening. See if you can let yourself feel what I'm sharing with you. Receive it in your cells, in your bones, in your belly, rather than just hear it. And see if you can continue to notice the sensations that move through you as you do, just like we did here. A last deep breath in here. Exhaling anything that wants to be released. And you can go ahead and open your eyes again if you'd like, or you can always stay here with your eyes closed. But just let yourself come back to presence here with me, with my voice, with what's coming through here for us. And let's start diving into this energetic archetypal realm of dreams. So I kind of feel like there are probably a bunch of you out there who are like, great dreams. Like, I don't dream, or I do dream and I don't ever remember mine, or have a really difficult relationship with my dream space. Or even just like, why are your dreams even a big deal? Like, why is this even a topic? Like, why are we talking about this today? Well, I'm going to first, those of you who don't think that you dream, or who don't remember your dreams, I'm going to actually talk about that exact thing a little bit later. And I'm going to tell you my story around dreams, and maybe some of my clients' stories, if I have time for it, that I've gotten to witness, and share just how powerful it is to work with your dreams. to share with you why this is even a topic, why this is such an important topic. Because the truth is, working with your dreams is a shamanic act. And we all have access to their messages, to their wisdom, to what they want to bring through. We all have access to the abilities to listen to the invisible realms. What we're doing when we start to pay attention to our dreams, when we start to cultivate relationship with them, start to cultivate dialogue with them, start to listen to them, is we start to bring back healing from them into our waking life. We start bringing back medicine and information, healing, guidance into our waking life. And there's a quote that I can't entirely remember right now because my memory is terrible, that says something like, dreams show us the things that our waking mind cannot or will not see. I mean, here's the thing. Our waking minds are freaking exhausted. They're exhausted, right? They're on such constant overdrive, because all the millions and millions and millions of inputs from everywhere in our life, from everywhere in our society, in the world around us, from the media, from the news, TV, our phones, God, our phones, the amount of information flooding us all the time is only growing. We're only becoming more and more and more saturated and more overwhelmed and flooded by input. And our poor brains are having an increasingly difficult task of shifting through all of that stuff and parsing out the things that are actually useful for you, that are actually helpful for you, not to mention that are actually truth for you, right? So there's a lot of insight and information and messages that try to come from our unconscious or subconscious minds, from our soul, from our intuition, from the invisible realms that never ever reaches our waking mind, our rational consciousness, because they are so much more subtle. They're not the big loud jazz hands that our media and everything else outside of us is today, right? And even when it does, we're so over-masculinized, as I've been talking about through this whole podcast series, that we either don't take time to listen, or we talk ourselves out of it because it doesn't make sense, quote unquote, or we don't believe it because we don't believe it could be possible for us. It seems bigger than what we can or should believe in. 1,000 different wounded masculine and wounded feminine ways that we try to shut out the far more subtle voices of our intuition, our soul, and our deeper knowing, our guidance, our compass, the voices that are actually going to guide us to where we actually keep wishing we were. So even if you were getting your intuitive nudges and insights, chances are you're turning them down at the door, or you're marking them as spam, right? Or filing them away for later when you don't have to focus so much on more linear, practical to-do list kinds of things. But then when do we ever make time for those? There's always more to do. We believe we aren't safe if we're not continuing to do our to-do list. So for me, our dreams are that much more important these days, because when else is our monkey mind actually finally quiet enough to actually hear? But in our dream space, right? If we're not paying attention to this space, to the messages and metaphors that come through for us, if we're just writing them off as like our busy mind doing its random busy thing while we're sleeping, then we're really missing out on absolutely profound insights and information and guidance. And in my experience, we're missing out on some of the guidance that's going to lead us, like I said, onto our golden path, right? The whole point of this podcast, which is the highest version of your life, the highest version of your soul path and your purpose, the fulfillment of why you came here in the first place. I've been working with my dreams for years now. And I mean, I've always kind of taken note of the really big dreams, the really strange or interesting or impactful ones. You know, like I still remember a few of my dreams that have stayed with me from when I was little. mostly teenage years, but even some that were when I was little. But I didn't actually start respecting them or treating them as what they are, which is potent and divine messages from our soul, potent and divine guidance from our soul, and start cultivating that relationship with them until more recently. But they've come to be as important to me as my waking life. I'm not kidding about that. I say that, and I know sometimes people are like, yeah, that's really like a big statement, but I'm not kidding. They really are. They get a seat at the same table as the rest of the parts of my life. And every other channel I tap into for my soul's guidance. They are equally as important as all of it. And I'll tell you why. This is where I'm going to tell you some of my stories, some of my dreams that have hopefully will illustrate for you why they're such a big deal. The first one is a very kind of practical, real world one, which I think all of you will appreciate, especially those of you who are entrepreneurs, but really all of you, any of you who create anything. I woke up one morning a few years ago, it was like the first year of my business, having received the entire layout and framework for my online course, Goddess Army. I woke up knowing how long it would be, how many modules there would be, the tier structure for it, because there are a couple different ways to take the course. Even the cost of it, like I knew it all. I saw it, I felt it, I knew it, I'd received it. It just like dropped in like a package, like somebody was like, here you go. And if I hadn't been in the habit of paying attention to my dreams and the information that comes through them, I might not have remembered or noticed it enough or been present enough to pay attention, to really bring it through and to manifest, right? To bring it through into reality. If I didn't value my dreams, I might not have paid any attention to them. I might have thought it was just like a random dream and like moved on. Or it would have just, like most of us, I think, it would have just disappeared in the mist as I started to wake up and jumped right into all the things I had to do for the day. Jumped right into my to-do list. Instead, I woke up and I wrote literally everything down that I could remember. And it helped me create this course so fast. I can't even tell you. It helped me create it and launch it so fast. And this is the course that literally changed everything about my business and created the success that I've gone on to have. It set the stage, it set the foundation for everything else that was to come after it. I've also met shamans in my dreams, real life ones I didn't know personally. I'd seen them perhaps, but I didn't know them and I hadn't ever interacted with them before I dreamed about them. And I've gone on to work with them in real life because of how profound the dreams were. And because it turns out I actually knew things about them in my dreams that I wouldn't have any way of knowing in quote unquote real life. It was a calling card for me, showing me who I was going to be working with next. I've received shamanic healings in my dreams. I've provided shamanic healings to my clients in dreams. I don't try to do that because I don't think maybe someday I'll be able to try to like set the intention to do that. But for right now, it just kind of happens if it's meant to happen. But it's been really incredible to witness. Like I'll perform a healing in the dream and then literally the next day I see that client shift out of a cycle or pattern, take a huge step in service of their breakthrough of a wound or a pattern that they've been stuck in the day before. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And then this is the biggest one. This is like my big dream story. I met the man I call my cosmic teacher in a dream about 4 years ago. He's a man, a soul, actually, on the other side of the veil, who I credit with bringing through a lot of the principles and quantum teachings that I share with my clients. And I still remember the dream like it was yesterday. And before this dream, I honestly was just still kind of like dabbling in my spiritual practice. I didn't really have a very strong one. And I really still thought I was kind of making up things when it came to my intuition. Or at least I didn't really think I had that much of a gift. Like I kind of think I thought like, yeah, I'm energetically sensitive. Sometimes neat and magical things happen, or I notice synchronicities and things like that. But I never in a million years thought I'd turn out to be a channel. Ugh, never in a million years. And it was honestly this dream that shifted all of that. Because in this dream, I was in an ancient Egyptian temple, and I could smell, I can still smell it. I can still smell this like deep, spicy, musky incense. I could feel the coolness of the stone temple around me. I could feel the coolness of being surrounded by stone. I could see torches burning down the hallway. And a man came up to me. And this was so interesting. He gently took my wrist and he held it up to his nose and smelled like you would smell somebody's perfume. And he asked me, "What fragrance are you wearing?" And I told him, Cleopatra, which is actually the name of the perfume that I wear. Like in real life, it's been my signature scent for years and years and years. And he burst into the most gorgeous, beaming smile. Ugh, like I still see it. It still just makes my heart flutter. As if he smiled like I'd just gotten the password right. Like I'd said the exact right thing that meant I was ready. And he offered to be my teacher after that. And I said yes. I said yes in this dream. I said yes to him being my teacher. And at that, he guided me deeper into the temple, and he took me into a smaller room off to the right side of the temple hallway and showed me, it was like a library almost. He showed me a sacred book and he taught me things about it, and I will never forget what he said. And I'm sorry to tease some of these details a little bit because I'm often a pretty open book when it comes to almost everything, but there are some details around this and around him, my cosmic teacher, that I don't feel called to ever speak about publicly. So I am teasing a little bit about this, but he taught me some really profound and beautiful things. And then he guided me outside and introduced me to a woman who I understood would actually also be guiding me, helping to guide me on this new journey. And I remember waking up and thinking that was just a really cool dream. Really cool dream. Great. Awesome. Cool dream. But of course, because I was working more closely with my dreams then, I wrote it down. And I did start looking for some symbolism in some things and messages and things like that. But mostly I just let myself receive it all the way, right? Receive all of what happened in the dream fully by writing it down and committing it to memory and really just anchoring it into my reality, right? Which, by the way, hint, hint, if you haven't started doing that, I highly recommend starting. But then something really interesting happened. About a month later, I started getting messages and nudges and even information dropping in for me intuitively that I would have no reason to know. No reason to know, way beyond the scope of what I should know, which was all a very, very new and interesting experience for me. Little aspects of the dreams kept coming up everywhere and kind of almost following me around. And I was like, what in the world is going on? But every time I would notice them and ask questions hold on, is that actually really a message for me? Is that really talking to me? Am I really hearing this? I would get this instant and loud confirmation that would drop my jaw on the floor. And so when it finally dropped in that maybe there was something to that dream that was bigger than I gave it credit for. And maybe this teacher guy was actually, trying to teach me like I said he could in the dream, like I gave him permission to in the dream. I started opening to the possibility of it. I started opening to okay, fine. What if? What if? Maybe there is something to this. I was skeptical. I still am skeptical about things when I start opening into them. I was skeptical, but I was curious enough to sit down on my meditation mat and make some really very clear parameters because it kind of freaked me out. And tell him I was willing to listen and see what he wanted to tell me and show me only when I chose to sit down and listen. I was very stubborn. And he literally blew the doors off of my lack of belief and my doubt and my distrust of what was really happening. Meditation after meditation after meditation with my cosmic teacher started unfolding such deep quantum teachings and understandings, and it really dissolved all of my tendencies to think it wasn't real. And it informed everything about what my business has become. So yeah, dreams have literally and completely changed my life, and they still continue to. And none of this would have happened if it hadn't been for the fact that I pay attention to my dreams, that I listen to them, that I don't just write them off as some random occurrence that happens when my brain has time off from my, busy waking life, right? I know, and I choose to see them as a powerful communication tool from my soul to me. And now I'm sure a lot of you are feeling like, well, yeah, but I don't think that's true for me like it is for her. And nope. Nuh-uh. Every single one of you has access to this. And I'm just thinking about this now. I think there has not been a woman who's joined me for either Golden Goddess, Cosmic Shaman, or my mini course called Connect Me, which is a mini course for activating your intuitive channel. Every single one of them has cultivated a deeper relationship with their dreams and with their intuition. Some of them have even healed really traumatic relationships with their dreamscape, like PTSD dreams, nightmares, things like that. Now, your connection and the dialogue you cultivate might not look the way mine does or the way anybody else's do, and that's how it's supposed to be. But you can cultivate a relationship with the voice of your dreams that's unique to you and that's uniquely meant for you. And it will open up deeper things for you in your life as well. And I also know that there are some of you too who probably feel like you don't dream, or you have a really hard time remembering or recalling any of your dreams. And I have a few things to offer you. The first is that it's like any muscle, honestly. And the more you let yourself start to work with them, the stronger the connection and the dialogue gets, the clearer the messages get. So here's what I invite you to do. Think of any dream you've had. Honestly, I know you've had at least one. Think of any dream you've had. What's the most recent dream you've had? Or maybe one of the ones that you remember the most. Most recently. It can be a while ago, that's fine. It can be a long time ago even, that's fine. But try to find the most recent of them. And try to find one that's not a nightmare. We talk about nightmares in my courses and how to work with them, how to transform them. So if you need help with those, email me and I can suggest which course might be right for you. But for this, for now, try to find one that's not a nightmare. And again, I know you have at least one that you remember. And I want you to write it down. I know that seems kind of trite and simple, but stay with me. I'll tell you why. I want you to write it down, not on your computer and not on your phone, but actual pen to paper, writing by hand in your journal. If you don't have a journal, grab one, or grab a notebook that you can start making your dream journal and just start writing down whatever it is you remember of your dreams. Even if you only remember a split second of your dream or a really vague detail of your dream. But start with one. Start with one dream. This one dream that I'm asking you to recall, to recall from your recent past or even your distant past, but the most recent, the one you can remember. Write it down. Write down as much as you can remember. Tell it like a story if you can, if there's a narrative to it, like this happened and then this happened and then this happened. If you can't because you don't remember enough details, that's okay too. Write it like this. I remember this. I remember blank. I remember something like this happening. Start each of your sentences off that way with I remember. And what you're doing is multi-purpose here. You are, with those statements, those I remember statements, you're actually reprogramming your brain through NLP, what is that, neuro-linguistic programming, to be able to remember more. You're also showing your soul you were listening by acknowledging the dream. You're anchoring in the memory of the dream and the energy of the dream, the message of it into your actual cells, because you're using your body, your physical vessel, to write it down. You're bringing what is esoteric, just like existing up here in your mind and your brain and your thoughts and your consciousness, into manifest by putting it in ink on paper. And these things, these 4 things, along with your willingness, your choosing, your deciding to start paying attention a little closer to your dreams, can start to open up this channel really powerfully for you. And you can start hearing the guidance that your soul and the universe is trying to bring you about how to live your best life, how to walk your golden path, right? I also teach some tools and practices for working with your dreams to help you understand them, to help you glean the messages, like really receive and understand what's trying to be said, what's trying to be communicated. Because I know sometimes our dreams can seem like, what in the heck does that even mean? That's the weirdest thing. And, I think dream dictionaries can be okay. But I don't put a whole lot of stock in them, because a lot of them try to tell you it's foretelling, like this is going to happen to you if you've dreamed this. And so I don't necessarily subscribe to that idea, at least for the majority of our dreams. I mean, of course, there can be foretelling dreams as well, but for the majority of our dreams, it's a communication, it's a dialogue, it's a conversation with your soul, and not necessarily telling you what is going to happen in your life. But for now, until you feel called to dive into some of my programs, if you do feel called to dive into them, just try this. If this dream were here to help you, if it were orchestrated by your soul to support you, what might your soul be trying to have you hear? What might she be trying to communicate to you? You don't have to be quote unquote right. You don't have to know the perfect answer. I know so many of us get hung up on, but what if I'm wrong? What if I'm not getting the right answer? How do I even know this is right? And then you just kind of abandon it, right? It doesn't matter, honestly. The more you start to listen and let yourself receive the message, make it up if you need to for now, the more she will keep talking to you. The more your soul and the mystery and the universe will keep talking to you and delivering more messages, right? Do you get it? We need to show that we're listening. We need to do our part, show that we're willing to listen. And it opens up our channel and the dialogue with our soul, with our intuition even more. I mean, honestly, last night, after I recorded the first half of this episode, I had one of the most potent and visceral and real life feeling dreams I've had in probably over a year. It was really, really incredible and really beautiful. I mean, when we start paying closer attention to the invisible realms, I mean, I just wrote about it more deeply yesterday. When we start paying closer attention to those invisible realms, our dreams, our intuition, our guides, our cosmic teams, the beings and the energies and the consciousnesses that we can't see, when we just start paying more attention to them and respecting them and honoring them more, they start talking to us so much more. It's like they get really excited that we're finally listening to them again, and they have so much to share with us. I actually had that experience in my very first shamanic journey to the middle realm, which, if you're familiar with that, is often where we meet animal guides. And when I stepped into this space, into the middle realm through the middle world, middle realm in this journey, all of the animals wanted to come in and say hi. It was one after another, after another, after another. They wanted to come in and say something and be seen and say hi and whatever, because I was finally listening. It was actually really funny. But anyway, I just encourage you to start. Just start letting yourself spend a little more time with your dreams, bring a little more presence and intentionality to your dreams. Start viewing them as an important part of your life, as an important part of your relationship with yourself and your soul and the universe and your greatest path, and they will return the favor. But here's another thing. This also isn't just about the dreams we have when we're asleep. The dreams we have during the day are actually really important too. Daydreams, fantasies, those moments of like reverie, wistfully looking out the window, thinking about something far away. Whatever you want to call those, they also play a part in our guidance, in our knowing our greatest pathway forward. Like, what do you daydream about during the day? In those moments when your mind wanders, when you give your brain a little bit of a rest from your to-do list, when you let yourself and your mind expand beyond what's here, what's already reality, physical reality, what's already manifest, and really connect out to the quantum realms of creation. What do you dream about? What do you imagine? A lot of times these things are your soul calling you bigger, showing you glimpses of what's calling you, letting you know that there's more for you, that more is possible for you. They're little breadcrumbs guiding us through the energy we feel when we're in them, the emotions, the sensations we feel when we're in them. Most of the time, though, we get in our own way with those, right? Like we talk ourselves out of believing that they mean anything. If we even notice them, if we even notice that we have them. We talk ourselves out of believing that they mean anything, or that they're anything that's actually possible for us. We assume they're a waste of time, or not practical, or not realistic, or whatever. We convince ourselves that they're so far out there, or not meant for us, or we're not worthy of them, or whatever, that it's pointless to even acknowledge those daydreams, right? And we just kind of like make ourselves get back to work. There are more practical things to focus on, right? But that's not your job. Assessing the likelihood of these things, figuring out if they're worthwhile, that is not your job. Like, listen, I'm not encouraging you here to just like quit your job today without any kind of anything in mind and just like go follow the daydream. And like, if that's calling you, maybe that is what you're meant to do. But I'm not saying that has to be how this goes. But your job isn't to know how these things are going to happen, and how these things are going to unfold, and what package they're going to come in. That's the universe's job. That's your soul's job. Your job is just to listen, to pay attention, to respect them and acknowledge them as whispers and nudges and information, and to take some form of sacred masculine action in service of what your soul is communicating to you. So what are they? What are those dreams? What are those daydreams? What do you get lost in the clouds dreaming about when your focus gets softer? How do you get to feel in those? What kind of things float through your mind, get painted in your imagination? Kind of wild ideas move through you when you let yourself connect with the energy of what's possible. What do you dream about? Again, write those down. Start listening to them. These things are telling you things. They're talking to you of what your soul desires. And that might not mean you're going to fulfill the daydream exactly as you've imagined it, but there's something in there that your soul wants you to have, that she wants you to experience. There's something in there that's calling you, that's whispering to you. Just as a really tiny example, I've daydreamed of just like, I'm sure we all have, just like taking off and going somewhere, just like hightailing it, hitting the road and like going somewhere for a long weekend, just like by myself, right? My soul's telling me that I need some spaciousness, that I need some quiet, some solitude, some stillness, some time to be away from the busyness of my business, and even away from like social obligations and just other people, as much as that's amazing and as fun as those things are, right? It's asking for me to reconnect with me, with nature, with silence, with stillness. And if I can listen to that daydream rather than just like let it pass me by and dismiss it, if I can give myself something of what's calling me, then in my experience, we are moving more and more and more in the direction our soul is calling us. And again, the more we listen and the more we honor it, the more readily we're going to get the next steps, that next bigger guidance. We're going to hear more clearly. We're going to hear the things that are really like important to hear. We're going to hear more about those things that we're like, which way do I go? what's actually right for me? What am I actually meant for? And honestly, it doesn't entirely matter how you follow through on your daydreams, just that you do. Like if your daydream is kind of out there, if it seems like really far-fetched or like really far in the distance for you, kind of like out of reach, there's something in there you can follow through on. There's an undercurrent, there's an underlying desire, there's a whisper in there that if you let yourself get underneath it, that you can create or give to yourself. There are practices and prompts for you in this free Rise Goddess workbook this month. It's all about dreams, both waking and sleeping dreams. If you want to go into this and actually have some practices and some more suggestions around doing this and some really deep prompts for you to feel into some of these things, head over to heather-allison.com and you can download that for free. And then join me next time. We're going to talk about another topic. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but we're going to talk about another aspect of the mystery, another aspect of the divine feminine, divine masculine, or sacred feminine and sacred masculine. We're going to talk about another aspect of our energy repatterning so that we can get closer and closer and closer to what is actually meant for us, so that we can call in what is meant for us, so that we can peel away more and more and more of the wound and the things that are keeping us from living out our fullest life, our happiest life, our best relationships, our deepest success, and our deepest soul alignment, and the most magic in our lives. So we'll keep exploring our golden path. And for now, thank you for being here. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Thanks for diving in with me. Thanks for dropping into your body with me and letting yourself feel something a little deeper than maybe you had been in your busy day. For letting yourself receive another layer of this medicine, of this new ancient way of being that I promise is going to transform your life the more you let it. Send me your questions, message me, email me. Don't forget to go download our free stuff. Also, if you do send me a message or an email, I'll enter you into a free drawing for a free month of my Goddess Activation membership, where you get access to me and my support and my guidance and my reflection and spot coaching twice a month, plus all sorts of other goodies and recordings and archives of all sorts of other trainings and spot coaching calls. And I can't wait to drop in with you next time. Have a great week. I will see you here again soon, and tune back in to the little nuggets that I'll be dropping here between this episode and the next. Talk soon.
Thank you for listening to The Golden Path with Heather Allison on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in every third Tuesday at noon Pacific as Heather dives into the key to unlocking your access to everything you're meant for. Understand why it's felt harder than it's supposed to. Listen and start tapping into who you really are, what you're really capable of, and the more you're truly meant for on the Golden Path Radio. For more information, visit heather-allison.com.